like that, except I don't get drunk until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon these days. But it's a lot of fun. In case you're not familiar with how an ad agency works, there are account people, there are planners, and there are creatives. I kind of work with all of them to make sure that they're thinking through social media and digital as part of their campaigns that they're coming up with. We were talking a lot before about how a lot of people are kind of stuck in the 90s or the 80s. We're kind of the same way. We're a traditional TV and radio print advertising agency, so social media is so different and new for a lot of people. We've come a long way. I've been there for about 4 years, and a lot of people have come a long way to learn what social media really is and have gotten a lot better at it. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I really enjoy it. One thing I want to talk about that you mentioned is social media is not free.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be your strong point. That's why I looked over to you. I was like, he's got this one.
I mean, it really isn't. So how many people here, I'm going to ask a lot of like how many, just because I'm really curious. I feel like this is more of a discussion anyway, right? So how many in here have paid money for advertising in social media? How has that been for you guys? And what platforms? You use Facebook probably primarily in the self-service? Did you probably spend maybe a couple $100?
I try not to go over $100.
Okay, yeah.
Only because I've researched a little bit about the algorithm with Facebook, and it's changed.
Okay.
So until I figure that out, how the reach is going to work.
Sure.
Because right now I'm stuck.
Yeah. Because they make it really easy for you, right? Boost this post for $20 and you can reach more
but
people.
I read that it's not worth boosting a post because it's not going to get as much of a reach as if you did a brand new post, brand new ad, and send it out. So it gets the whatever computation you use, they do it on purpose so you actually spend more money.
They do, yeah. What about outsourcing? You mentioned that a couple of times. Has anybody paid money for somebody else to manage their social for them? Yeah. Maybe a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
For specific events, but not like entirely for my brand. But when I have like a fashion show or something coming up, like 451's helping right now with something I'm doing, then I'll take on somebody, but only when only because I've done so many pop-ups now that
you're busy.
It's the same people all the time. And it might be 100 people, but I need to reach a greater audience. Yeah. And so that's when I'm like, you can have 5,000 friends on Facebook, but even still,
it's the same 20
it's the same, and it's great, they get filled up, but then it's your friends that are just there to drink. You're like, I want to buy, spend some money, like,
damn it, guys, buy something.
Buy something. So that's when I'll, and it does help to bring in some unfamiliar faces.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, at the end of the day, social media technically is free. It doesn't cost you anything, any money or any time, right, to actually go on and just make something. They, of course, get all your data, and that's how Facebook and Twitter and Instagram make all of their money, is off of learning all these things about you, which is fine. It's part of the deal, right? But it doesn't actually cost anything to make them. To maintain them is different, though, right? I read a stat the other day that 70% of content on Instagram is not seen by people, which if you've logged into Instagram lately, you might have noticed you're not seeing things in the same order it used to be. It used to be the newest thing was on top. Now you might scroll and see something from earlier in the morning, maybe the day before, or something from a couple of friends that you interact with a lot. That's on purpose because as more and more people start to join Instagram, there's more and more competition for that content in your feed. You only have so much time when you're on the T to go through and catch up with everything, right? I was so OCD about making it all the way back to where I left off the last time because I didn't want to miss anything, right? But I didn't follow that many people.
Oh, okay.
Well, nowadays it's like pop up like so-and-so's on Instagram, so-and-so. Okay, I have to follow all these people. I need to know what's going on with them. All of a sudden now I'm starting to miss posts and can't make it all the way back through. And Instagram realized that and realized that people were only seeing 30% of the content that was available to them in their stream. By sorting by most recent, you're only seeing whoever happens to be there at that time, right? We're definitely going to talk about post times.
Yeah,
I want to go back to that one too, don't let me forget.
Yes.
So their solution to that is an algorithm, right? It's based upon the people that you engage with, the people that you're connected with, and the people that you're more likely to not literally like, but enjoy their content, right? So you're starting to see some algorithm changes. And Facebook's been that way for years and years and years. Twitter's starting to do the same thing. If you've logged in, recently you might have seen they starting to do this while you are away feature, and that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and now their entire timeline is while you are away, right? So they're starting to show you the same type of thing, which is interesting because for a long time they were saying we're the anti-Facebook, we are the feed of everything, but not so much anymore, right? Those stockholders, they want their money back.
Yeah.
So
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Was that the whole essence behind, did you see, I don't know, maybe it was like 2 months ago when
Yeah,
people were posting
click
that
the post,
notification,
yeah.
turn on
Turn on
what did they say? Turn on your
notifications.
notifications, is that why?
exactly.
Yeah, it is.
Because Instagram basically announced.
Yes, it was.
a real thing.
Yeah, so you probably, all those notifications you didn't turn on, you're not seeing their posts.
Yeah. And I would argue, I mean, for some people it might work
thought so.
well. I would argue and I also work with big brands, which I think is a nice distinction that my mind is skewed toward a big brand, but we actually advise our clients not to post that, because then all of a sudden, every time you post something, you're sending out a notification to somebody, and from a brand like Bank of America or John Hancock or Liberty Mutual Insurance, people don't give a shit about that stuff, right? So they don't want a notification every time that brand posts something. What they do want is something from a celebrity or a fun brand, right? They want Dunkin' Donuts, they want that cool content, right? So I would say unless you're offering something that's really cool and people are just gonna love everything that you post, that actually is gonna harm you in the long run, because people are gonna get tired of getting a push notification. People are weird about
They're
push
gonna give up,
notifications,
yeah.
right? And they're gonna unfollow you. So you have to be
You're like,
careful
"You're annoying."
with that. You have to almost maybe scale back your content. It's worth doing, I think. To
kind of like go through and unfollow the things that really aren't within your immediate content that you're paying attention to.
So are you suggesting because I kind of noticed this too, when I don't post as often, I get more likes to the page just by like staying low versus if I was posting every day? Is that what?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends, and I have a note in here.
Exactly, it depends. You gotta pay attention to what's working for you.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because people think of social media so immediate and that you have to be posting all the time. Nowadays, that's becoming more and more difficult because if you're posting and people aren't engaging, right? So it depends on the content you're posting. If you post something once a week, but it's an amazing post, you're gonna get ranked higher in the algorithm. And they're really actually pretty secretive about what impacts things in the algorithm because they don't want people to exploit it, which they will. I mean, we're all here to figure out how to do social media, and we're basically trying to exploit their system. So they're really hush-hush about what works and what doesn't, but I mean, it's pretty safe to say if you post things that people engage with and people like, then they're gonna show more of that content. If you're posting every day, and you only have that one good piece of content and you're filling it with 6 pieces of crap, people aren't gonna like it, and then your reach is gonna go down. So I would say it's more about quality than the quantity for sure. But this is also where that paid comes into perspective, right? So of course you can post anything you want for free, but to your point about looking to see how many people are actually seeing your content, that's where paid can help you a little bit, is to amplify. If you have something that you know is really going to resonate with people but is not able to reach everybody, one word that I really hate in our industry, and we make fun of it all the time, is viral. Like, let's make everything go viral.
Let's break the internet.
Everybody wants viral. And
Shut it down.
there was kind of this knee-jerk reaction from people in the industry of, you can't do viral. Viral's not a thing, but it kind of swung back the other way, where you start to realize that there are different levers that you can pull to make things go viral, right? There is not a secret sauce, but there are certain things of you need it to be seen by a certain number of people in order for those people to be able to share it out to more people. If 5 people see something and 1 person shares it and none of their friends share it, it's gonna die on the vine. But if it's a really, really engaging piece of content that you think people will share, sometimes it's worth the investment of just a couple $100 maybe to get it in front of enough people so it will spread within its network. So that's a really good way for paid to come into play. Of course, big brands have lots of money, right? And they're the ones that are paying Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and all these companies to be in your feed. So in addition to that organic 30%, right? Think of all the brands that are out there paying millions and millions and millions of dollars to get their content seen, and you're still competing in the paid space against them. So there's no secret sauce with paid, but if you feel like you have a really great engaging piece of content and need to get it seen by more people, sometimes paid's a good way to go. It's interesting because just a couple of years ago, all the money that you were paying to social networks was to acquire followers or fans. And it's really interesting because in those days there wasn't as much competition in the news feeds.
Yeah.
So brands were paying tens of millions of dollars to Facebook and Twitter to acquire fans and followers. And they had this enormous reach. At the time I was working at Boston Children's Hospital doing their social media, and we spent a fair amount of money to acquire some followers on Facebook. And we're the largest hospital Facebook. We had tons of PR because we were just surpassing, every other hospital in the world had a couple thousand, and we had like 650,000 fans because we paid to get them, right? And then we had this enormous reach. We would put out whenever we needed blood donations, whenever the blood bank was low, or during the holidays when we wanted people to donate money, or if there was some bill in the legislature that we wanted passed or not passed, we would just put things out on Facebook and it would have an enormous reach, and we would accomplish anything we needed to because of that. And Facebook realized, oh, we can make more money if we now charge these brands for people to see their content instead of making it free. So now brands are feeling that they're paying twice. It's a philosophical thing, but they still have the money because they know they're getting in front of people. So just think about the paid as a really interesting thing, and know that yes, it is free to create a social media presence, but that it does require an investment. To your point, if you don't have money to pay for it, or don't think that there is a return on that investment, then you're going to have to invest time, and time costs money too, right? So you can spend the time to do the outreach and engage with people, which is definitely something that you should do, but just know that time or money is something that you'll have to invest if you want to be successful in social.
I have a question.
Sure.
So would you suggest Facebook ads as like probably the first? I mean, I personally have thought about doing Facebook ads once I launch.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just kind of like.
It depends what you want to do, and I would say, in a minute I'm going to talk about what your goal is, but it's even more important to know going in what you want your goal to be, because you can create different ads on different platforms to accomplish those specific goals. So on Facebook, you can create a campaign to say, I just want followers, or I want to drive clicks to my website, or